Okay, so bit of a recap then. Obviously, Rich, now you're joining us. I know you've kind of caught up with the video, but just to kind of summarise the events of last session, you've essentially been tasked by Magistrate Fu to investigate how deep this smuggling network goes, and to do that, you've been required to venture outside the Great Fortress Wall and into kind of the Western Badlands. Obviously, he's kind of given you a decent coin purse to cover your expenses, but some of that's already found its way into the pockets of one orc named Chikinto, who's led you at least part of the way into the desert towards the camp of Lagvug Sandstricken, the orc chief in question, who appears to be buying some of the illicit goods. Now, at the end of last session, we had a bit of a encounter in the evening, and some of the desert's less desirable denizens made an appearance, as I'm sure Yinfu will be all too familiar with. So we find ourselves now kind of just in the aftermath of that, as Wide-Eye pulls his javelin kind of out of the corpse of this thing. Jacinto kind of turns to you, Yinfu. Those are some serious wounds. You're going to need to rest for a little while.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Yes, Yinfu, now that the adrenaline has started to wear off, the pain is becoming a bit more apparent. Obviously, you've had a little bit of assistance from Epikos and Jacinto, so you're not quite as bad as you were, but it's still not looking great. Now, for those of you that haven't played my campaign before, so namely Chris, because I don't tend to do the traditional 8 encounters per in-game day, the resting system I've kind of had to tweak. So for long rests, we tend to restrict those to settlements, civilizations, or other safe areas, whereas kind of out in the field, a rest at night would count as a short rest, just because otherwise you'd always have pretty much your entire toolkit, which makes the balancing a little bit problematic because you can just nuke everything all the time.
Yeah, Pascal's adopted that in her campaign as well.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, because a lot of the traditional D&D is obviously you're just dungeon crawling through absolutely massive dungeons, and therefore thematically you would be getting the encounters you need per day. But we don't tend to reach that intensity level. It tends to be more drawn out in the campaigns that I've been running. But if we're all on board with that, the night is still young, so there would be time to potentially get some rest.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Can I just say, I don't have a token in this scene or something, so I can't see anything.
Yes, that is true. Zwan emerges from the shadows.
Been here all along.
Just very stealthy. But he is a rogue. So as you guys kind of sit down and kind of start to settle in again, you see Jacinto has kind of perched himself up on the rocky outcrop. It seems that he's deigned to take the watch himself this time, as he can't clearly trust you Softlanders to do it properly.
Yeah, that's not unreasonable. I'm going to sit down.
You could argue that's kind of what we're paying it for.
I paid him for passage. He didn't say it would be safe passage. But it is in his best interests for you guys to survive, obviously, as any drawn-out conflict is probably likely to attract more attention. But no, he sits down and kind of starts to more carefully scan the surrounding desert. Okay, so anybody wishing to take a short rest, now would be the time to do so. I believe Foundry has a button for that.
Yes, it does. It's the knife and fork. I'm gonna roll some hit die as well. Cool.
All right.
I'm good. I didn't take any damage or use anything I can get back with a short rest in that encounter.
Mhm. Okay, so the rest of the night passes uneventfully, and as you guys kind of manage to get back to sleep, the kind of chill in the air intensifies. You notice that the desert here is pretty windswept, even with the cover of this cliff. But the sun slowly starts to rise above the eastern horizon, and with it, the kind of warmth starts to return to the morning air. It'll not be too long before it starts to become unbearably hot again. Right, everybody take this chance and refill your water skins. Could be a good couple of days till we hit the next oasis.
Yup. Whatever Jacinto says, I say yes.
So you fill your water skins back to capacity and kind of drink your fill before Jacinto starts to lead you further into the desert. Judging by the position of the sun in the sky, you would think he's taking you roughly northwest, but it's hard to be sure entirely. So let me bring you all to this scene, which I believe should have some music.
I also have no token here.
You have no. Oh, is it on token? Yep, it is.
There is a setting I think you can turn off requiring token vision.
Yeah,
There
if
is,
you right click and
just,
configure, it's
It's on that by default. So.
Yep, it's the one that gets me every time.
Yep, that's going to be a good few sessions before that starts to sink in. So I apologise in the future.
Considering we've been playing with this for about 2 years, I've still not got used to it. So if you do better than me, all credit to you.
All right, so you step out into the wider deserts, and as you kind of start to crest some of the bigger dunes, you begin to get an idea of just how vast the expanse of sand is. As far as the eye can see, it is just kind of the undulating waves of the sand dunes, with kind of a backdrop of some kind of rocky mountains in the far off distance. It's quite intimidating for most of you, I'd imagine, having never really seen anything of this nature. For all its troubles, the realm is actually quite a pleasant environment in most of its climates. And obviously the distinct lack of any sort of civilization is a very large contrast to the more metropolitan civilization of the realm. But it doesn't seem to bother Jacinto all too much. He kind of steps forward with a confidence that suggests that he has at least some idea of where the next safe spot may be. But he's very careful to ensure that you will travel directly in his footsteps. Stay together. If I see anybody else falling out of the line, make sure you grab the rest of our attention. Very easy to get lost in these dunes. He kind of looks to the sky once more. We'll march for the next 5 hours, and then we'll need to find somewhere to take some shade. We'll rest in the midday heat, and then we'll carry on into the evening.
Okay.
When do you think we will arrive?
He kind of looks ahead of him. Within 2 days, I would imagine. But, he kind of chuckles afterwards. Don't worry, we've got the supplies for it. I made sure of that before we left. And as if that was supposed to offer reassurance, he turns and continues his march, setting quite a determined pace. Obviously, marching across sand is significantly more challenging than the more solid terrain that we're used to, especially for our cloven friends here who really struggle in the sand.
I believe we had the best checks last time, actually. Those of us with the hooves.
Well, the sand has taken over from the arid shrublands back when you did those rolls, so we may have to do other ones
Boo and hiss.
at some point. But for now, you guys follow Jacinto for the next couple of hours. The sun, obviously now pretty much directly above you, beats down relentlessly. It's very much a struggle to keep yourselves cool in this. Even with the wind, it's offering precious little relief. Right, we'll stop over there. He kind of points to a larger dune and makes his way up to one of the banks, which is, from the looks of it, there seems to be on the northern side of it. From his pack, he draws what appears to be a large kind of tarpaulin or sheet of some sort, kind of made out of quite a light, leathery material. And with a series of stakes, he drives 2 of them into the dune and then stretches it out a little to offer a bit of a lean-to. He then draws a shovel from his pack and begins to dig out some of the sand underneath it to offer a bit more space. Before too long, he's dug out enough of a hollow in the dune that you guys can get under there and out of the sun. But it's a little bit cramped. Right, get some
Sorry,
rest.
everyone.
Yes, Epicos, I imagine you're probably feeling the claustrophobia a bit more than the others, but it's worth it to be out of the heat and the direct sunlight. If you can get some rest, I'd recommend doing so, but we've got a good couple of hours till the worst of the midday heat's over, so we're not going anywhere till then. And with that, he kind of pulls out his notebook and begins to read, kind of laying down his back to the sand dune.
Yeah, I'll definitely be trying to get some sleep.
Okay, so you guys rest up a little bit, passing around some of the water. Careful, obviously, not to go too overboard with it. But the hours creep by, although in the heat it seems quite well, a lot longer than it probably actually is. But eventually the sun starts to crawl its way down towards the west, and Jacinto rouses from his private study and starts to de-rig the shelter. Okay, back to it. And with no further ado, he begins once more to trek. This time, though, he swings a little bit, so now that you're going pretty much directly west. A few hours more pass, and a kind of a stone mesa begins to rise in the distance. Up ahead, we'll rest there this evening. There's a few caves which should offer us some good protection. He leads you closer, and as the kind of rock grows a bit larger, you can see that there are a couple of kind of hollow caves that appear kind of at the ground level. He leads you up there, and you begin to notice that these appear to have been carved at some point. They're not a natural formation. As you enter, you can see... Oh, sorry, Karen.
How big are they?
Pretty sizable. I mean, the entrances themselves aren't massive, but once you're inside, they seem to go back away. And inside you can see kind of like, the evidence that people have, at least, or at some point, something has deemed to pile up stones in patterns that indicate they may once have been walls. Doesn't seem to bother Jacinto too much. He kind of sits himself down and begins to, kind of lay out some dried meats for his evening meal.
Will these caves be safer than the oasis we stayed at last night?
Yes, there should be. The entrance over there gives us only one direction to watch. And they're small enough that any of the bigger nasties won't be able to get in. We should be able to handle the rest.
I take it you're expecting us to have trouble at night again?
Most predators out here are active at night. The daytime tends to be a bit too hot.
Okay.
Most of them burrow down. Not saying there's no risk in the day, of course, but it's amplified massively. But we should be out of sight and out of mind here. I've stayed in these caves many a time before and I've had no problems.
Good to know.
He sits himself back against one of the walls. Well, at some point they used to serve as, well, a much greater staging ground for caravans, but that's long since passed. And indeed, the walls do look like they've been there for a considerable length of time. Very, very hard to put an exact date on it, but the state of disrepair suggests that this was either intentionally destroyed or enough time has passed to allow such grand-scale degradation. Yes, we used to be a bit more of a permanent peoples, but not much these days.
What happened?
He shrugs. Hard to say. But eventually tribalism took over. Things broke down. Deserts have always been a hard place to eke a living. Sooner or later, all things that grow out here have to die. Seems that works for the kingdoms, and now we end up with fractured remnants, small pockets of what we once were. He shakes his head. Not that many people care about that.
Well, why not move within the walls and join the realm?
I've seen how the realm treat my kind. I think I'll take my chances out here. Just irritates me because Lagvug is just... He, kind of grits his teeth a little bit. He may be the chief, but it doesn't mean he's wise. He's tearing down pretty much every ruin he can find.
Why is he tearing them down?
You'd have to ask him. If you ask me, I think it's just that he doesn't like them. I think the ruins here remind him of his own transience. No matter how great he is, he too will eventually be forgotten. I don't think that goes all too well with his ego.
Bodes well for us doing business with him, I suppose. Not.
Just pisses me off because there's so much we could learn from all this. We were a proud people once. I've seen some of the depictions and the artworks in these ruins. In fact, I actually have a favour to ask. He rummages through his pack and he pulls out what appears to be a series of crumpled bits of parchment. Now, our people were never much one for the recorded word, but I've seen a few monuments and steles which seem to have recordings of the oral tradition. I seem to think they may be musical in nature, but I've not really been inclined to that sort of thing. I've noticed that you've got a few instruments. Do you think you could make heads or tails of this? Yinfu, he hands over the parchments. You can see that on them are a series of what appear to be rubbings of what must have been at one point monuments and carvings on a wall that he's kind of roughly gone over in charcoal. Now, obviously, these are not written in any kind of musical notation that you're familiar with in the traditional sense within the realm, but perhaps with a bit of study and a bit of time, you may be able to kind of work them into passable tunes.
Well, this in its current format isn't familiar to me, but given that you saved my life, I'm more than willing to spend some time trying to make it serviceable.
He nods at that. I'd be grateful if you could. I'd love to hear them as they were meant to be heard in their original music. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Just hopes and dreams of a abandoned scholar. No, not much time for that amongst my people. That's why I end up at Phoenix Wall more often than not. But anyway, that's enough. You're not paying me to hear my life story. He packs his book away and pulls his bedroll out, kind of lays it down in the cave. Now, we should be alright tonight, but no fires.
Okay.
So, anybody volunteering for watch?
No.
I volunteered for watch since I wasn't on the roster for watches yesterday, one before they were interrupted.
Okay, so Zwan, you make your way to the kind of mouth of the cave and sit yourself back a little from the entrance. The meadows a little raised from the surrounding desert, so you've got a pretty good vantage point. And as the sun sinks, the kind of desert gets kind of an eerie calm to it. The only sounds, the kind of winds howling over the tops of the dunes. As you look out, you can see, kind of sand being blown off the top of them, creating a little bit of a haze the further afield you try and look. But you do notice that the absolute absence of any sort of light gives you an unparalleled view of the stars, something you've never really had in the cities of the realm. Roll me a perception, please.
$16.
Okay, so you appreciate the beauty, but you don't let it distract you from your duty. Obviously, having seen the results of letting your guard down overnight last night, you're quite motivated to keep an eye on things properly. But your watch passes with no real events. The desert is dead by the looks of things. Alright, who is relieving Zwan for the second watch?
I can.
Okay, so Epikos, you're woken by a hand on your shoulder, and Zwan kind of indicates that your time on watch has arrived. So, in a similar fashion, you position yourself so that you've got a pretty perfect view out of the cave entrance and out into the night. This time, can you roll me a perception, please?
Oh, I can try.
Wow.
Good. glad that's what I got with the -1.
Okay, so Epicos, you too enjoy the vistas offered to you by your lookout point. You look to the stars. I mean, you obviously have been outside the wall before. You know the kind of familiar constellations here. Indeed, you find very quickly some of the ones taught to you in your childhood. However, as you gaze up at the sky, trying to connect some of the kind of little pinpricks of light into their familiar patterns, you notice something passes in front of a couple of them, something fairly big. However, it doesn't seem to be headed your way. In fact, no, it's actually kind of flying, appears to be horizontally along your line of vision. So it's not getting any closer, but nor is it getting noticeably further away. You kind of strain your eyes against the dark desert night, and the silhouettes starts to take a bit more of a form. You can see what appears to be a sizable creature with vast wingspans and a pretty sizable tail. And it glides pretty lazily through the skies for a creature of its size, only every now and again kind of flapping its large wings to gain a bit more height. It appears to be searching for something, and it's flying fairly low. You estimate it's probably maybe about 300 meters at maximum.
Is that a dragon?
You do not know.
As far as he's concerned, it's a dragon.
You watch Epicos as the silhouette fades into the distance, clearly not finding what it's searching for. But you're quite glad of the large amount of rock over your head at this point.
I turn around and make sure that no one's snoring too loudly.
The party are very much fast asleep, however, none of them seem to be making too much of a racket in that state. Obviously, being in a cave would help muffle that a little bit, especially with some of those kind of ruined internal walls dampening a little bit of the noise. But you keep a careful watch for the remainder of the night. Unfortunately, that is the only time you see that silhouette. It does not return. So as the sun starts to kind of creep over the horizon again, people start to wake up around you.
There was a dragon overnight.
Oh yeah. Fight him off by yourself, did you?
No. He was up in the sky, in front of the stars. At least. I
So,
think it's a
Elias, roll me a
dragon.
history, please.
Yeah.
You're fairly sure there hasn't been a dragon sighting, at least in the immediate vicinity of the realm, for about 400 years, give or take.
Maybe it was just a bird, deceiving your eyes.
It may well have been, but it wasn't a bird scale we found yesterday.
Oh well.
Whatever it was, it did not come this way. And thankfully, everyone is a quiet sleeper.
That's good. Elias doesn't really believe that you saw a dragon.
So you guys make ready for the next day's troweling. Once everybody's kind of had their morning meals and a bit of water, Jacinto leads you off again. So very quickly, the kind of stone and the kind of arid land around the mesa gives way once more to the soft sands of the dunes. And much like the previous day, things in the desert seem to be quiet. However, Epicos, you make particular attention to only travel exactly in Jacinto's footsteps after your experience overnight. Once more, as the midday sun reaches zenith, he digs a similar shelter for you into one of the dunes. And again, you guys managed to get a little bit of reprieve from the scorching heat. By now, your water skins are probably about half empty at this point. But it doesn't seem to be causing Jacinto too much alarm, although he obviously advises you all not to be too frivolous with your consumption of it. You notice that he himself is taking only small sips at fairly regular intervals. It shouldn't matter too much. Probably going to be at the camp by mid-afternoon, late evening, all going well. A word of warning when you do get there. Lagvug is not a patient orc. I would not anger him if I were you.
Do not worry, the people we meet seem to enjoy my company. I will pay him the due respect he deserves.
Any other pointers on dealing with him?
Well. He's very much motivated by greed and power. If you can play to those, I imagine you'll be able to twist his ear. But he's got an unpredictable temper. He can be triggered by the smallest of things, so tread carefully. But he kind of looks to you, of course. You seem like a warrior, so I imagine he might like you.
I hope so. That will make proceedings easier.
He kind of nods a little bit at that, but you can see like a little bit of doubt, perhaps, in his eyes as he kind of gets back to his book. Don't worry. If you do end up pissing him off, that'll save me half a job.
Or open up a new role for you.
I like your optimism, friend, but I wouldn't fancy your chances. He didn't get to where he is now off niceties and diplomacy.
How does one end up as a tribe leader for the tribe?
I would say in 95% of cases by killing the previous one.
Okay.
Don't worry, if things go badly and we end up being having to face him in combat, we will hand it over to you peacefully in one of those 5% cases.
He looks at you trying to work out if you're joking or not. I think I'll make myself scarce when you guys do the talking to him. I don't really want to be associated with Epicos if he's going to be like this.
We are hoping things go peacefully. I am sure he is a perfectly good person to speak to and make dealings with. But I didn't get where I am by not preparing for bad outcomes.
It can't help to be prepared, but again, it's not just him. He has a real collection of some of the Badlands' best warriors at his disposal. I would be hesitant to put yourselves in a position where you might have to fight them all.
Yeah, let's aim to not have a fight here. I don't think that's the outcome that will help.
I would definitely agree with Yinfu on this one. I would probably look to get what you want in as least confrontational manner as you can, you'll definitely live longer. Okay, so it quickly becomes time to move on again, and you guys strike camp and make a bit more progress. Again, veering slightly more north this time, and you carry on for a few hours, but eventually, kind of mid-afternoon, you crest a large dune, and out before you, you can see what appears to be an oasis. However, that's not really what catches your eye, as immediately surrounding the oasis is a sizable sea of what appear to be tents, and from the looks of it, quite a lot of them. So you kind of stop and start to count them all, but quite quickly give up. It appears that there are at least several hundred of these, kind of all pitched in a roughly circular pattern around what appears to be one very large tent in the centre. Well, there we are. Not long now.
Is this the place that they were camped the last time?
So Chikinto leads you down the dunes towards the outskirts of the camp. And as you get there, you can see that there's no real obvious guard presence on the outskirts of this encampment. Clearly, they're not really expecting too much trouble in the way of infiltration. But entering, you can see that the kind of occupants of this encampment seem to be pretty much majority orcish in nature. And in fact, your presence does draw some unwanted attention, perhaps, as pretty much everyone you pass stops what they're doing to kind of turn and look a little. You notice that most of these are, clothed in fairly rough and ready attire. Mostly, kind of patchworks of leather and other fairly easy to acquire goods. Some of them appear to be wearing armor of sorts, and you can see again kind of a mismatch of pieces of armor, clearly either acquired in raids or taken by force, or perhaps even traders. But definitely a ragtag bunch and not much uniformity amongst them all. But Chikinto doesn't really stop too much. You can see he's clearly a little uncomfortable here too. But he makes his way towards the central kind of gathering where a few of the kind of larger tents are. Epikos, what catches your eye immediately is there appears to be a fighting pit here. It's not by any means a coliseum or an arena. In fact, it seems to be a kind of a series of kind of leather walls kind of quickly erected to form a smallish circle, but it serves a purpose. You can see two orcs kind of going at it with fists. A crowd around them kind of cheering.
See, Chikinto, I told you there was nothing to be afraid of. These are perfectly civilized people. They have an excellent fighting pit there.
He shrugs. Well, it's very much needed. A lot of steam needs to be blown off in places like this. Better to channel it productively than let it just simmer. But you're looking for that. He kind of nods forward towards the kind of main central tent. I'd imagine Lagvug's in there if anywhere. Now, interestingly, this is one of the few places you've seen that does appear to have an armed guard. And as you approach, one of them steps forward. He kind of looks at Chikinto and kind of spits down at his feet. And what are you doing back here? I'm making some money. He kind of gestures his thumb backwards towards you lot. Group of travellers wanted to come out and see the sights. I'm not going to turn down their coin. The guard kind of looks past him and assesses you guys, obviously being a fairly diverse bunch. It raises a little bit of confusion as you're not clearly wearing anything that would identify you as belonging to one faction or another. Although, obviously, the kind of more civilized nature of your clothing does hint to your origins within the walls. And why have you brought them out here? What purpose other than your coin? Don't think Lagvog will take kindly to visitors. He shrugs. That's their business. Well, the guard looks at you guys. Explain yourselves.
We're interested in conducting some business.
Oh, business? You don't seem like merchants. Where are your wares?
Not
We're
so
looking
much.
to buy, not to sell.
Yeah.
And what exactly would you be looking to buy that you think we'd be willing to sell?
Items that are unavailable within the walls of the realm.
That draws his attention a little bit. Wait here. He heads inside the tents and leaves you guys kind of stood in this kind of central area for an uncomfortable couple of minutes.
In
By
the
now, obviously, word is
halls?
getting around.
I'm gonna turn round and sort of like raise my eyebrows at people. Like, is this the approach that we're taking? Does anybody want to step in with a plan B?
Well.
I think Plan A is already well in motion.
Well,
Of course, plan A implies we only have 26 plans.
oh.
So,
I mean, it doesn't matter how many plans we have when they all go to shit in reality anyway, so what we label them is meaningless.
Sure, fair enough. The guard returns. You are to enter, but you will be respectful.
Thank you very much. I will drop a little curtsy.
He kind of holds open the kind of a flap into the tent, and you guys kind of make your way in. You can see at the back of the room there appears to be kind of a raised platform, not too dissimilar from something you may see a magistrate on back within the realm. Perhaps Lagvog has heard of this practice and seeks to emulate it himself. However, you notice another orc kind of standing at the base of this platform, who's kind of grim and looks quite stern. You notice that the kind of chair up top is occupied by clearly Lagvog himself. He's a big orc, as most chieftains tend to be. He's clad in a more complete set of armour than most here. It seems to be half plate from the looks of things, and decent in quality too. At his side, you see a long, double-handed greatsword propped against his throne. He's kind of sprawling back in it, seemingly a little disinterested, perhaps a little curious. But you notice, kind of scattered around the tent in, various states of organisation, are vast quantities of treasure and what must be tribute from his vassals. It seems that as far as Badlanders go, Lagvog's got himself a pretty good setup here. But the stern-faced orc at the base of the dais steps forward. What business do you have with the Shah?
We are looking to make purchases of unusual items. Can we speak freely here? We've heard tell of being able to purchase dragon scales from you.
The orc kind of looks at you for a moment, kind of weighing up the seriousness of your tone. The Shah has no need of your services. He already has a contact.
What percentage are they taking from these sales? If you don't mind me asking. It may be we were able to give you a better deal.
He kind of glances back towards Lagvug, who kind of casually flicks a few fingers to, grant his assent. Our current price is 500 gold pieces per scale. If you can do 600, then we'll consider it. If not, then our business is done here. As you can imagine, we appreciate trustworthy clients, not just ones that can lay down the coin.
And you're certain your current contact is trustworthy? After all, word didn't get to us from nowhere.
He considers this for a moment. Well, he has always delivered. In fact, he has delivered us some very, very particular goods. Elias, you notice, actually, now that you look around the room, there appears to be a crate of spellglaives in the corner. These kind of rare and very, very much controlled weapons are pretty much exclusively developed by the Jade Brotherhood and not given out lightly.
Well, 600 gold, maybe within budget. But before we agreed to such a deal on behalf of our employer, we need certain insight into how the operation works. Are you bribing the gatehouse officials to smuggle them through?
Roll me a persuasion.
Okay. Ooh. Can I try my hypnotic gaze?
Yes, you may.
Right, let's try that first then. That's a DC 14 wisdom saving throw.
Right. That is just about a pass.
Ah, you motherfucker. Okay. And then it's just going to be a straight up persuasion, I guess. Which is
Yes, please.
not great. Yeah.
We're not going to tell you how our operation works. Needless to say, we have a means of getting things into the realm and out again. I imagine that if your employer is serious, he has a similar method in place. If not, you're wasting my time. You're wasting the Shah's time.
Well, how would we meet with your smugglers on our side of the border then? There are certain, fine details that we need to iron out.
As well as the gate being under very close scrutiny at the moment.
You wouldn't. As with our current arrangement, the trading would take place outside of the walls. For smuggling in, well, that's problems for you.
I see. Well, I was rather hoping that your operation included getting over the border. This does represent some potential problems.
Regardless, I think it could be an issue that we can sort out. It may take us some arranging, though. I don't think our employer had fully anticipated that that would be down to us.
And besides, this is only one part of the problem, you see.
Oh, yes?
We use the gold to purchase these, and he gestures to the Spellglaves, mighty weapons from inside the realm. I've been told that they don't hand these out very freely over there. Now, if you can't get access to those for us, then we have no interest.
Spellglades? Oh, yes, well, our employer has a certain contact. I mean, you know, of course, that the Jade Brotherhood oversees the control of these types of weapons. I know these things because my employer is a very powerful person. But yes, Spellglaves, we can get hold of them. What other magic weaponry do I know about that's under control?
So, at the moment, not too many. The Brotherhood only reluctantly started manufacturing Spellglaves by, direct Imperial decree. They're of the opinion that, high-level magic is something to be very closely controlled. So, other than maybe spell scrolls, which, to be honest, aren't much use unless you're already fairly familiar with magic in the first place, there aren't many magical weapons of the kind of caliber the Spellglaves are that would be interesting to, a non-magically inclined war boss.
What exactly do the Spellglaves do?
Essentially, they act as conduits for the weave, allowing those uninitiated in magic to wield pretty high-level spells. However, only a select number per glaive can be infused at any given time. Therefore, meaning that, you could give one of these things to somebody who has never even heard of magic and within a couple of weeks train them up to be a fairly prolific spellcaster.
Would that training require, like, a wizard to teach it, or...?
Or somebody who is familiar with the use of a spellglaive, rather than having to be a full-blown magician.
So if...
Are we seeing then basically this guy like preparing his forces to be able to use magic fairly proficiently?
It looks like he may be aiming for that, yes, if he's looking to acquire large portions of these.
And if they require some training, it means he probably has someone on staff who's capable of doing that training.
Quite possibly.
Possibly.
The Shah kind of beckons to the orc at the bottom of the stairs, who quite quickly hurries up to attend his lord. He kind of leans in, and you watch as Lagvog kind of whispers something into his ear. The guard looks a little bit, for a moment, like he's going to question this, but very quickly thinks better of it, and calls down to one of the guards at the gatehouse. Summon Imlius. The Shah has need of him. As the guard at the gates leaves, he turns to you. Well, if what you say is true, then it sounds like we may potentially have some grounds for a bargain. However, our current supplier has always been good to us, and I would give him the chance to at least counterbid your offer.
Your supplier is here.
As it happens, yes. He brought in a shipment 2 days ago.
Oh.
So, a few moments pass. You guys kind of get a chance to, kind of further examine the display of wealth in the room. It does seem like, this size of treasury here would be very much enough to, arm and fund a pretty sizable campaign, at least for a year. Obviously, money being the lubricant that greases the gears of war. You imagine that if Lagvug seriously intended it, he could mobilise a pretty sizable force with this, assuming he could find the manpower. But given the size of the kind of tent city around you, you suspect that might not be as much of an issue, even out here in the deserts.
When we were travelling through the camp, how varied did the populace look? Did it look like it was like whole families, or did it look primarily like men of fighting fitness?
So you could see that there were, kind of a collection of families in amongst it, but obviously orc women are also fairly big and muscle bound, so they would be fairly adept in combat too. And of course, bear in mind that if they start wielding spellglaives, it wouldn't matter too much about their physique if they can start lobbing things like fireball across the opposing forces.
That's a fair point. Don't need muscles for that.
But you think that he could probably muster, at least a couple of thousand from just the collection you've seen here, if he were so inclined to do that. But the door of the tent is brought open again, and the guard walks back. With him, what appears to be a half-elf. However, you notice that the half-elf's complexion is particularly pale, almost sickly in colour. He makes a low theatrical bow to the Dias and Vishar. You are having needs of me, my lord, he says. Everybody roll me an insight, please. Yinfu, as one well-versed in the literary arts, you notice that his form of common is quite old and very much antiquated in today's kind of vernacular. It's more, it appears to be broken in places. You suspect common might not be his first language. Can
I give him a look over to see if I can figure out where he might be from, like having a look at his clothes and things like that?
Okay, so you take a moment to examine his clothes, and for the most part, he seems to be dressed in kind of attire one would expect to be found on, fairly important persons, or at least fairly wealthy persons within the realm. With one small exception. You notice that on his wrist he appears to have some sort of mechanical device, which you've never seen the likes of before. But the half-orc, the orc who is acting as Vishar's spokesman, beckons him forward. It would seem, Elias, that you have some competition.
Inlius,
that was it. I always need to write the pronunciation.
You have my name?
So he kind of looks at you guys, kind of weighing up this supposed competition. They're offering 600 gold per scale now. The half-elf looks across over towards you guys, and for a moment he seems to be kind of taking stock of you. Obviously a fairly strange bunch by all measures, I would imagine. He raises a curious eyebrow, but waves the hand aside. Then we will be offering 700 per scale. It is no matter to us. The orc kind of, nods his head in approval, and you can kind of see a smile forming on Lagvug's face up as he watches the drama unfold.
He's just made himself 200 gold for nothing, basically.
Yep. I'm going to turn to Elias and sort of make like a mummer's approach, like we're maybe like, thinking this over really quite hard. Of can we do 800? And I'm gonna kind of lean in with, do we keep bidding up here? I think I'm breaking up. Oh, my connection's really shit.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Nope, keeps on cutting out. Discord, sort your shit out. Nope. Am I coming through any clearer?
You're understandable, at least for the time being, a little mechanical.
Yeah. Discord keeps on shitting itself.
I think
Yeah,
I think
I've got-
they're all the same.
I was gonna say everyone for me.
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So Discord's just having a shit show. Yeah.
A few moments to see if that's any better.
It's weird, it keeps looking like it's sorted itself out and disappears again.
Yeah, is that any better? How are we sounding?
Still a little bit robotic.
Sounds a bit better for me.
Yeah, I think we're understandable at least.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we can pass it off for the time being.
Yeah.
Hope it'll resolve itself relatively soon.
Cool. So yeah, I'm gonna make a bit of a show of turning to other companions, and Elias in particular. He's kind of been leading the charge on what we can offer. And then lean in and go, are we upping the bid to 300?
No. My worry is that they might ask for some kind of proof of our.
We're not
No.
intending to actually follow through on this, so it doesn't
No, but-
really matter.
But they might ask for some kind of proof before we start outbidding. I mean, we have some information as it goes. We know that we've seen this pasty white elf, half elf.
Mm.
We've got a name. We know
Okay.
that it's them. It's from inside the realm that the smuggling is taking place. That might be enough information to feed back.
Yeah.
Or
Us beating them back to the
we
wall
could,
might be preferable, and seeing how they're
perhaps-
doing it.
perhaps we could gracefully bow out, ask if we can stay the night, and then and I'll give eyes towards Xuan. Maybe we could do a little bit of skullduggery.
Okay.
Yeah, I just nod back in approval.
Okay. So I guess turning back to Lagrug, Elias will give a bow and even bow towards Imlius. For such a price, we would have to consult with our employer. Unfortunately, we can't commit to that price right here and now. If you would permit us, we can return and have that conversation, and then we'll be back within a fortnight, say.
So he kind of looks up to the. I have to kind of get approval from Matt, and Agvo kind of assents to it. He gives a small half nod, but you can see that Imlius is clearly quite agitated by this. Great Shah! You do not know these people. Do they have credit? You know a fleet is good for the money.
The fleet.
He turns to you guys. And who is employer of yours?
Well, who is your employer?
I do not need prove anything. Lagvul, no, I'm good.
Well, we cannot share such information, but
Our
the
employer
very
relies on
fact,
discretion.
the very fact that we are here shows we mean serious business.
His eyes narrow.
And in fact, I'll raise my voice. In fact, you insult our intent. Such a thing in our world would have you flogged. I'm gonna try and put on a show.
Emilius turns once more to the dais. Great Shah! Clearly these men are spies. They bring no serious offer, they cannot say where they come from. They want to know your illicit dealings.
If we were spies, I rather think they would have chosen people slightly less conspicuous than us. We would be terrible spies.
Roll me a persuasion, please, Yinfu.
I think the little man just wants to stamp out any potential competition before it gets the better of him.
Okay, so Yinfu, you obviously say that, but you say it quite rapidly and with perhaps a slight tinge of alarm in your voice that seems to kind of draw some attention, and you see Lagvo kind of lean forward in his seat a little bit. He beckons for the orc at his, his commander, his right-hand orc, and he kind of says something in his ear for a little bit too long, almost, to be comfortable.
Is there, like, a brazier or something in the tent?
Yeah, there's a couple of things to offer a few bits of light.
Is there anything, like, flammable amongst all the possessions and things and bits and bobs?
You imagine the tent itself is fairly flammable, but you can't be sure. Does
Okay, I'm just gonna turn to the others and sort of like, we need to get the fuck out of here. And I'm gonna cast Mage Hand. So the Mage Hand, because I have the telekinetic feat, it's actually invisible, so it can't be seen. And I'm gonna tip over one of the braziers and try and set the tent on fire.
Okay. So, you tip over a brazier and a stream of sparks and kind of burning bits of brushwood are sent sprawling across the kind of floor, and you see that some of the treasure indeed is flammable, as a particularly well-woven rug starts to kind of erupt into flame as these kind of burning embers land on it, and quite quickly it seems to spread the fabric of the tent. Now, obviously, this is a bit of a surprise to all involved. I imagine probably most of you in the party as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
I'm going to turn and usher everyone out towards the entrance while everyone's distracted.
Quick, everyone to the fire assembly point.
Oh my! Oh no! Get out quickly!
okay, so you guys kind of pile out of the tent. And you can kind of see that even from the outside, the flames now are starting to kind of lick quite quickly. Whatever it is that they've used to windproof this, it's clearly very flammable. But as you pile out, some of the guards on the outside are beginning to realise that there's a fire and are starting to kind of head in to try and beat out a little bit.
I'm just going to shout, quickly, Lagfolk needs your help! And I'm just like...
Okay, so you guys start to put some distance between that, but you hear a kind of a loud bellowing following you. Seize them!
Shit.
Right, okay. Everybody roll me their initiative value. Not for a combat, I just want to see how much of a head start you're all going to get off on the...
There's no combat encounter.
What you
so-
can do is
No,
roll and then
roll a d20
push
and
your
add your...
modifier.
Yeah, just add your modifier
okay, yep.
for the sake of that.
Yeah. So, where are we?
Whoa!
Not 20.
Holy crap.
Okay, good time to roll that, Rich. So, Vaughn,
Hang on.
you've seen enough trouble in your life to know that this is the start of something that could honestly be probably described as a magnitude 10 shitstorm here. So, you hesitate for all of a microsecond before, kind of hauling ass like a HGV full of donkeys. And you are just a blur as you start to kind of make for the outskirts and use the cover of the confusion to get a bit of distance. Epikos and Yunfu, you're not far behind. Wide-Eye, you're a little bit slower to, even a man with as limited social interactions as you knows that this is a pretty bad situation to find yourself in. Arson is a fairly universal concept for being a bad thing. Elias, you spend a little bit, maybe too much time trying to persuade everybody that Lagvig needs help and try and act a bit innocent, and you find yourself very much at the back of the pack. But as you run past, you see that Jacinto is kind of sat down there, but he kind of obviously quickly realizes something's afoot, and seeing that you guys are running, he doesn't wait for an explanation and begins running too. What the fuck have you done?
Seeing that Elias is at the back of the pack, I'm gonna try and persuade him to run faster, and I'm gonna give him a bardic inspiration, just in case. I don't like that he's right at the back.
I was also going to turn around and just grab him under the arms and lift him and run.
Okay, so Elias, with a bit of magical motivation and a good old bit of physical pulling, your speed is increased slightly by your companions. By now, obviously, the alarm has gone out across the camp, but nobody really knows why. Obviously, smoke is rising from the kind of main tent, and that's drawing in a bit of a crowd. People are kind of rushing. You can see a few people heading to kind of draw water from the oasis. And the confusion very much helps in your escape, as kind of the mass of bodies in the streets kind of bogs down any pursuers. But you quite quickly make your way to the edge of the encampment and just proceed to, put as much distance as you can. But Pinto, he kind of is sprinting to the lead now. Follow me! I know a few places.
Okay.
Okay,
One of these days it would be nice to leave somewhere like this without being chased out.
Well, it was either be chased out or, be hacked to death.
A man can still dream.
I don't think we would
didn't even
pass
get
their
to.
trial.
You didn't even get to use the fighting bit.
I know.
Oh. Well, we might have been thrown into the fight.
Didn't even get to do any skullduggery.
Oh god.
I'm a bit surprised you didn't go, "Ooh, that was an at 20. I'm just gonna yoink a bit of the loot on my way out."
Grab a fistful of gold pieces just to, have a bit of passing memory. No, so you guys follow Jacinto, who wastes precious little time finding out what the fuck has actually happened, and most of his efforts towards making sure he's not going to be there to find out what Lagvig thinks has happened. So you kind of carry on like this. He keeps you going for about 2 hours before he dips into what appears to be a kind of a deep well at one point, but has since then dried up. He then, you notice, pushes aside a bush nearby to kind of reveal a kind of a thatched mat which seems to have been placed there previously, and clearly by him because he knew where it was. Now, as he ushers you down into the well, or the remains of it, you can see that there's like kind of an opening at the bottom, which kind of leads out into a bit more of one of these caves. And as the last of you enters that, he kind of pushes some more sand onto this mat to camouflage it and pulls that over the entrance to the well before following you guys down. What the fuck was that?
Not my fault.
Things did not go well.
Yes, I can see that. Thank you very much. And I brought you in, so now that's associated with my name.
Like,
You know, kind of seemed like we were about to be made into dinner. Clearly this, our timing wasn't perfect by the fact that the other trader, smuggler, happened to be in town at that time. So, some accusations were thrown at us. I didn't think we were going to be able to convince Lagvog that we weren't there on ulterior motives, shall we say. So we GTFO'd. I may have started a small fire as means of a distraction, but it got us out.
It was a small fire in a large flammable tent.
Well, Elias is kind of smirks. He's actually quite proud of it, really. I may have pulled off similar stunts in the past. Could be a little bit like what got me into trouble in the first place, but hey ho. We still have our skin.
If I ever see you flirting with a woman and she doesn't seem interested, I am getting the fuck out of there.
If you ever see her husband come home, that's, yeah. Okay, look, I might have acted a bit hastily, but it didn't look like it was going well, that's all.
things I do believe were going south. I didn't really have a plan for what we dealt with there.
But we learned some things. And, yes, Kinto, you're right, we have kind of ruined your relation with Lagvog, but, we can compensate you for that, maybe?
Gold is one thing, but now I can never return to my people. Not that I'm particularly fond of them, but it would have been nice to have had the choice.
Let's say they didn't really look like they liked you that much.
Provided Lagvog made it out of the tent, of course. It sounded like he did, but there's always a chance.
Also, we do have another opportunity here. The smuggler called Imlius, that we now know represents the fleet of the fog, I assume, is what he was referring to when he said the fleet. He's just visited Lagvog. So may be possible that he'll be returning sometime soon.
It'd be
Jacinto,
interesting to see how he gets through the gate.
do you think you might be up for trailing someone through the desert?
He looks at you. I can tell you've not done that before. How exactly would you conceal yourself? If we were to follow a day behind, they may not see us, but their tracks would be gone before we caught up. And if we travel fast enough to track them, well, they'll see us.
Surely our
Good
better
point.
option is to get to the gate ahead of him, and then watch from that vantage. I doubt much of his journey will be of huge interest.
Where is the closest gate to where we are still the Phoenix Gate?
The largest gate of any size. The wall is kind of dotted with fortresses along various points, but most of them are military strong points. The Phoenix Gate is one which is kind of more for trading, or for trading as much as it is as a military bastion.
It's possible they could be using another gatehouse to get through. One where the officials are a little bit more corrupt, maybe.
Maybe. He does look dreadfully suspicious, though.
Or maybe they're not using the gatehouses at all. Maybe they're just... No, I don't know. Somehow they're... If he's from the fleet, how the hell is he getting hold of spellglaives?
Unless we ambush him within the desert itself, he will have nowhere to run, and we'll have to spill answers, otherwise we take his water and leave him there.
Remember the
this is true.
magistrate in the tax office had connections to the fleet as well? It seems like there's a band of corruption running through the realm's higher officers. Possibly it's that. Although, given his accent and mastery of common, it didn't seem like he was from the realm.
No. So they're doing business with the realm to get hold of spellglaives and then selling those spellglaives onto Lagvug in exchange for dragon scales?
Seems that way. It all seems a little bit concerning, arming outsiders so thoroughly. Their benefit to this can't be anything we want to hear.
Well, Epicos's idea of an ambush on the merchant as he's on his way back might be our best idea for more information.
So we have the passive option to see how he's doing it, or we have the more active option, which is likely to give us more information about anyone maybe more important than he is.
Tracking him would be more difficult, and we can't necessarily guarantee that if we tried to get ahead of him and wait for him at the Phoenix Gate, that he's even using that gate to come through. So ambushing him, I think, might be our best option.
I'm going to turn to Jacinto. Is there anywhere on the route back where we could ambush someone?
Or
He shrugs his shoulders a little. Well, in theory, yes, but it's going to be very much dependent on knowing where your target is going to be coming through. Any one of these dunes you could hide behind.
well, he was... The route that he took to get to Lagvug's camp, I mean, he was hauling some pretty heavy cargo. So he must have horses or camels, maybe?
Unlikely is maybe not travelling alone, which is worth us remembering.
But
So-
neither are we.
No.
Is there a particular route you think, Jacinto, that a convoy of traders might take?
Let me think. Well, in theory, they would be travelling oasis to oasis unless they were to dedicate a lot of their carrying capacity to water and supplies. Which is not out of the possibilities, but I don't see why they would. So, if we were to perhaps find somewhere overlooking an oasis, we could even fight them back where we were ambushed. We know the terrain.
Mm.
And if I'm correct in my thinking, he'll also be hauling back a pretty hefty load of dragon scales, possibly.
Nikindo, did you see the trader before he came into the tent to speak to us?
Larfel.
Yes, I did see him. Struck me as a bit of a strange character to see in such a place.
Have you seen anyone who looks like him before come out this way?
He shrugs. Perhaps. I don't really keep a track on all the travellers I see. There's all sorts passing through Phoenix Gate on a regular basis.
Hmm.
Did you happen to see any other outsiders in the camp? Maybe he had friends with him.
I'm sorry, I wasn't really paying much attention for that.
Well, let's head back to the Oasis then. I think that's all we can really do. Elias, do you have a way of watching the road in the direction that we're coming from to get some early warning about how many are travelling?
Let me just check. Find familiar has always been a bit confusing to me. Because is there a limit of how close? Yeah, because while your familiar is within 100 feet of you, you can communicate with it telepathically. Additionally, as an action, you can see through your familiar's eyes and hear what it hears until the So it has to be within 100 feet of me in order for me to communicate with it. But that does mean that it could be further away. And I could give it an order to observe and then come back to us when it sees something.
Yeah.
So yeah, potentially could do that.
You just want something speedy?
I think as well, if you recast the spell, it basically summons it to your side, because you do it
Yeah.
after it drops to 0 hit points, but...
Well, I've only got it. I haven't got it prepared, so I can only do it. Well, I mean, it still takes an hour to cast it, I think, anyway. But so it is a ritual.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you'd have to
Oh,
know
wait,
that it
but,
detected
yeah,
the people to call it back to you, right?
Oh,
So-
yeah.
Mm.
As opposed to it just seeing
Returning autonomously.
something, and then once it gets within 100 feet of me, I'd know it was there. But
But if it doesn't see anything and it's been like a day,
yeah,
you'll be able to resummon it if needed.
yeah. Well, how long did it take us to get to the well?
About 2-3 hours from the camp.
Okay. So, if it was to watch the road, it would then. What could I actually turn it into? What's your rules on a familiar, Crispy? Is it something that I have to be familiar with?
Hey!
You need to at least have seen whatever you're trying to turn it into.
Yeah. What kind of... Well, a bird would be the obvious choice, but like, I don't know if it would survive out in the heat. Like if I was to summon a hawk or an
we-
owl.
Not have seen birds while we've been travelling out in the desert?
Like a vulture or something.
Yeah.
They're not particularly common. There are some.
It's a shame you didn't see that dragon last night.
Yeah, I don't think I can do a dragon familiar. Well, yeah. Do you want me to roll to see if I know whether or not I can make a vulture?
Yeah, go on.
Okay.
Just give me a flat d20.
Alright, okay, fair enough. No.
Yeah, you're not particularly familiar.
I mean, I can try and make a hawk and then just have it find somewhere nice and shaded to hide. It's still going to take me an hour to recast. Well, because at the minute I've got it as a lizard. So I would have to recast in order to change it into something else. Wait, you said it was like afternoon by the time we got to the camp anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of late afternoon, so by now
So it must be getting on to like evening, yeah.
yeah, the sun is on its way down, definitely.
Okay. Alright, well I'll start doing that. I'll start recarving a hawk now. So that'll take me an hour. And then once that's done, I'll send it out in the direction of the camp with instructions to observe. Well, with it being a hawk, it's got pretty fucking good eyesight, so I'll sort of telepathically communicate what the half-elf looks like and tell it that when it sees him leaving to fly back to us.
Alright, so you begin preparations for summoning this as a hawk. Meanwhile, you can see Jacinto's, kind of the cogs are whirring in his head. Now we'll have to go a bit of a roundabout route. We may not be able to get too close, at least for the first couple of, probably the first day. Don't want to be too close to the camp if we do stumble across them.
Can you give me a hawk in my party PCs? So I know what its stats are, if I need to roll anything.
One moment.
I think, because I can like get up a creature from the like monster manual, but then I can't roll stats on its behalf or anything like that. I think I did see an option on the one that you've already given me that there is a polymorpher. So, but it says that it's I lack creation permissions, and it needs to enable polymorphing needs to be enabled on it. So if you do that, maybe I can just transform it into something else.
Possibly. I might have to look into that another time.
Yeah, no worries. That way, theoretically, I can have the same character sheet for it and then just change it into a different creature whenever I need to.
Yeah. Alright, there you go. Let's, let me set the ownership quickly. There you go.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you very much. Hey, it's got +2 wisdom. +4 to its perception.
Why than an owl, strangely.
Yeah, good point. Its passive perception is 14, which is, I think, 3 more than our highest. Is that what we worked out at? Yeah. Yeah, dear.
Alright, so you kind of send this hawk up into the sky, and it can obviously see a little better than you can, especially from altitude. But you are, a good couple of hours away, so to truly monitor the camp with any degree of accuracy, it would need to kind of venture beyond the range of your telepathic connection.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just reading the fine print here.
Fine, familiar.
Yeah, just seeing if there is actually a hard limit on range for these things.
Yeah.
Doesn't explicitly say so, so we'll go ahead with that as a plan.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, like, yeah, it will follow my instruction, but yeah, I don't know how it would behave when it's outside my range.
Essentially, you could give it instructions before you sent it, so if certain conditions are met, return to a distance at which you can communicate with it.
Yeah, which is what I've done.
Okay. So that flies off into the distance to kind of get a better view of what's happening in the camp. Now the obviously the night is starting to set in a little bit here. Right, I've got a plan. It's a bit longer of a walk, but it should allow us to reach our planned oasis about a day ahead of the others if they were to leave tomorrow morning. They may not even leave that quickly, but it'll get us there in plenty of time to stage that ambush. It's a bit more of a roundabout way, but it should be fast and safe enough for us, and there's a few oases that we can stop and refill our water as well. I suggest, though, that we steal a march on them. We'll head off in the night time.
Okay.
It's a bit riskier, but so is staying here, I'm honest.
Sure.
So he kind of pokes his head kind of gently at first, just to kind of see if anybody is nearby. And then when he's happy the coast is clear, he kind of casts aside this kind of woven mass, and you guys climb out into the kind of quickly cooling desert air. Alright, everybody ready?
Sure.
Ready as we'll ever be.
Let's go.
Okay, so he starts to lead you guys towards... Well, it seems he's decided to take you further north first before kind of starting to kind of move back. Eventually you find yourselves travelling in what must be east. But he moves quite quickly and demands that you do the same. So you guys kind of march through the night, and as morning starts to rise, he kind of checks back. Everybody still okay? Everybody roll a Constitution, and we will see if everybody is still okay.
I don't regret saying just about. Oh.
Isn't it a ability check or just saving throw? Does it not matter?
Saving throw on this one.
15.
For fuck's sake. Oh, can I add my bardic inspiration to that?
You didn't explicitly say you were going to use it back then, so yeah, go on.
What is it, a D4, D6?
D6.
Right.
D6.
Oh, it's D6 already.
It's D6, yeah.
10.
Okay, so most of you are doing alright. Epicos, you're starting to struggle here a little bit. You could push on, but it'd cost you a level of exhaustion to do it.
What does the first level of exhaustion do again?
Very good question. Let me find a sheet. I miss having
Is
that
it
little cheat sheet.
disadvantage on saving throws?
I believe it is, but I will find out for sure.
Disadvantage on ability check.
That's the one. Saving throws is 2.
3.
3? Wow.
Yeah, number 1 is disadvantage on ability checks. 2 is half speed. 3 is disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws. 4 is half max health. 5 is 0 speed. 6 is 0 life. Yeah, I'm gonna push through.
Okay, so of course it's been hard going for you on this sand, but you fight the ache in your muscles and you push forward. Obviously, you've got a plan to see through, and you're not going to let a little bit of tiredness stop you from doing it. The rest of you, you kind of just grit your teeth and get on with it. But Jacinto doesn't let up the pace. He keeps you guys marching through into kind of a midday. He does stop then, at least, so he kind of leads you to an oasis, gives you a half-hour break to refill your water before he makes you start marching once more.
Where do I... Ah, there it is, exhaustion. Under effects conditions for anyone that cares, I have a level of exhaustion.
You pop it on underneath your character art on the far left. First pop.
Ah,
There you go.
there we go.
Alright, so you get a little bit of a respite, but not much before you're moving once more. You get a couple of hours further on when the hawk returns to you, Elias. So far, no movements from the camp. It seems that Imlius has not left just yet. But after delivering that message, it returns to kind of fly back in that direction. Obviously, to kind of keep track should that change. Just leave that as telepathically, so I'm going to leave it up to you whether you share that with the party.
Or, I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah,
I
so
might have been looking at something else, I'm sorry. Yeah.
the hawk has kind of returned briefly to relay that no one's left camp.
Okay.
It matches Imlius' description, then it's kind of headed off and flown back in that direction.
Yeah, sound. I'll relay that to the others then. No one's left yet.
All right.
That's good.
So you guys keep marching towards that general direction. Obviously, taking a different route than you did the first time. Everybody, roll me a perception, please.
Four! My last fucking... How many rolls have been a 4?
Jesus.
Hold on, mine's an at 20. Oh, I get disadvantage, don't I?
You will, yes.
Yeah, let me roll again.
Just get another
I was
20.
like, it's
Easy.
not...
Level 20, job done, yeah.
It's like, it's not added, the problem from exhaustion. It's because it's disadvantage.
Still not bad. Still not bad at all.
Still the best out of the party.
Tied with Yinfu there, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
as you,
You know that
guys
state of Zen where you're tired and you're so tired, so exhausted that you no longer feel tired? That's how Epicos is.
So, Epicos, you're kind of trying to do your best to distract yourself from the kind of burning of the lactic acid in your legs. As you kind of do that, you try and start to count however many sand dunes you can see as you kind of keep marching. And you've gotten to 27 when you see the slightest glint of gold coming from the side of one of the dunes.
That sand dune over there. I saw a shimmering. I do not believe it was a heat haze. It looked metallic.
Yinfu, as you follow his extended finger, you too see it quite clearly. There is definitely a glint of gold shining amongst the sand.
Oh yeah, just about. And I'll try and give directions to how far up the dune it is.
So you kind of relay this information to everybody, and Jacinto kind of looks at it, and he kind of sees it too. What the? Huh. I'll be damned, I've never seen that here. But then again, the dunes, they shift with the winds, so it wouldn't be unheard of for something to have been uncovered, perhaps.
Is it maybe just a dragon scale glinting in the light, maybe?
He shrugs. It could well be. We won't know until we find out. With
Can we
that,
get over that?
he kind of starts leading the way there, and you guys follow. But as you get closer, you see that this is not just a dragon scale, nor is it a stray coin. Instead, as you draw closer, you realise the size of this thing. It's actually what appears to be the head of a statue. Part of it adorned in gold, the rest a kind of a quite worn sandstone.
How big is it?
Well, the head is life-size. Most of it, however, seems to be buried, but you can kind of see next to it appears to be the top of an arch and the wood of a door buried in the sand.
Huh. I'll look at the others. Anyone got a shovel?
Ginto kind of puts his pack down and takes his out. Never leave home without one.
I'll help and sort of dig by hand as well. I'll try and get this thing going.
Yeah, it's soft sand. It's not hard to start, shifting away from this. And as you guys work, you quite quickly expose this statue, and it appears to be a kind of strange creature. It appears to have the body of a large feline, but the head of an orc. And sure enough, as you dig further down, you expose what's clearly a very, very old door that appears to be, sealed shut by what appears to be ropes and a wax seal. In fact, as you go further, you can see that there's actually another one of these statues on the other side, which was fully buried until you guys have started to clear it away. Jacinto kind of looks at you guys. This could be very important for my work on our people's heritage. I mean, we've got probably at least a day on the others. What say we explore?
Let me check it out first, and I'm going to use Divine Sense.
Yes.
So, until the end of my next turn, I know the location of any celestial, fiend, or undead, not behind total cover. I will use another one when the door is open.
Epicos, you are relieved to know that there is no undead sneaking up behind you in the dunes, nor are there any celestials, or fiends for that matter, and that relieves you somewhat.
Do not worry, everyone. The door is not undead.
Probably good to know that none of us are those as well, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely up for exploring. This is fascinating.
Okay, we're committing to exploring, are we? Excellent.
Yeah. No, let's leave it. Let's go. Let's head back there.
If this is correct, this should hopefully work, but we'll see.
Yeah, we could just say the two
Atmospheric music.
sphinxes, or reverse sphinxes, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, so the seal at the front of the door is ancient and crumbles quite quickly as you manhandle it. And the door clearly set a long time ago. The wood is actually surprisingly intact. It seems that the dry atmosphere of the desert has prevented any rot from really setting in. And despite the hinges being a little clogged with sand, the door actually opens quite easily. And I think the best way of doing this is probably if we have it as an encounter, and then we take it in turns based on initiative to explore.
Interesting.
So toggle everyone's combat states. I swear I fixed this last time.
I mean,
if
if you start an encounter, all we need to do is roll initiative.
That's true. I'm halfway through doing it this way though, so I'll just add it.
Oh, yeah, I should do that. Hang on.
I don't know why this has come up with all your old names on this encounter, because I definitely changed them all last session.
Did you change them from the character sheet?
I did, yeah. So I'm not sure what's going on there.
That's weird. Yeah, we can't see it from our side.
Alright, so, as Jacinto is first to act, he is going to once more take his torch from his pack and he's going to light that. Just equip that. And he's going to slowly and tentatively make his way down the steps quite cautiously.
My god, I really want to buy a frickin' torch.
Yeah.
Okay, so Wide Eye, you're next up.
I think. We're just doing like standard movement.
Yeah, standard movement.
Yeah, I think it'll be kind of be trailing up behind, not wanting to go too far ahead. Trusting in our guide to go first.
Okay, so you kind of follow up Jacinto, weapons at the ready. Cal, moves us to you.
Yes.
Is it worth starting an actual turn-by-turn combat tracker, Crispy, so we can see
Actually, that's
at
true. Yeah,
glance?
that would help if I begin the combat once. There we go. That should allow you all to be a bit more accurate with your movement as well.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, like, I've read a lot of stories, having spent a long time in the Brotherhood for a couple of years. I'm just gonna go ahead and cast Mage Armor on myself in advance.
Okay.
Because traps and the creatures and nasty things. And then I'm gonna follow behind Wide Eye.
All right. So you move down. The air is quite stale. Obviously, this hasn't been opened in quite some time.
Did Jacinto have a torch?
He does, yeah.
Does he have a spare I could borrow?
He doesn't. He uses his other one back at the ambush site.
Okay.
We're standing next to each other. I can hand over one of mine, because I'm also going to get one out on my turn.
Alright, okay.
Hold on, I should be able to give you a...
One thing I didn't think to buy before we left the city.
Depending on what kind of bag you started with, you may have one or something.
No,
similar in
I've
your
got like
inventory.
a scholar's pack, so I didn't get
Yeah.
anything.
giving you a torch there. So, Chris, you deduct one from yours.
Thank you. Well, 'cause I can't do it this turn because I've already cast a spell, but my thought was about using Mage Hand to carry it around and it basically be like a floating light. But I'll try that next time. End of my turn.
Okie dokie. So that moves us on towards
Chris's PC.
Epicos.
Yeah. I'm then going to equip one of my torches. It's hopefully not showing in my inventory. We'll see as I move. So I marked 2 down, one for Cal, one for myself. Now I'm going to move
So have you just activated the light on my character?
When you equip it, it should.
Well, because I did just try to then, but it said I didn't have permission to do something. Oh no, it says effects torchlight. Okay. Enable. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna
Okay.
leave it there.
So yes, of course you can't bring yourself forward ahead of the others. You can kind of see the kind of staircase leads into what appears to be a chamber ahead, but you can't see much more. So Yinfu, your turn.
Okay, I am going to just move after.
On an aside, how is the volume level for the music on this for people? Because I know last time we've had some issues.
Pretty good.
We can
Yeah.
control it ourselves as well, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a little music tab on the top right.
Hmm.
Ah, nice, there is.
Should I just move? Yeah, I can't easily get any further, so I'm gonna just stay put here, I think.
Okay, cool. So moves over to Zwan.
Well, it doesn't tell me my movement speed. Why not? Oh, there we go.
It should be 40.
25. Yeah. No, it wasn't coming up like, you know, when you drag, it didn't say. how far
I get
was
that
it
as well, actually.
So I get another 15.
Yeah,
from
it's
there.
usually each square is a
Yeah.
5.
And I'll push just ahead of Jacinto. Eager, there's the thief I am to see more what's going on. And I'm going to... I can't quite reach there without dashing, and I'm not going to dash way ahead of everyone. But since I can see that's sort of like the end of this small corridor, can I see if I can perceive any sort of visible traps at the end there?
So you have a look carefully there as one, and you don't notice any traps.
Okay. I believe it's safe. We should move in. And I'll end my turn there.
Okay, so Jacinto is going to move forward a little bit. He's going to have a look around. He's going to move forward a little bit more. Huh. Well, it seems that we're safe here at least. He kind of looks around curiously. I get the feeling this place is old. Very old. It's not like any of the ruins I've seen before. And that's going to be his go.
I just noticed that Wide Eye's token is like leaning slightly. to the
Yeah,
side.
I was wondering that. I'm facing down the air.
Just bought a new reclining chair.
I believe you can spin them, but I can't remember how.
If you hold control and then use your mouse wheel.
I've done that by accident. Cool. But Wide Eye is going to...
I'm in the upside down.
Believing it's safe. Head over here. Following.
Alright, so do you want to maybe describe what you see to the others?
And then he's going to move over here, so... Wide Eye walking into a... kind of a large room. With a lot of pillars, and he's calling back to the rest of them like, yeah... This looks... safe enough. Enter. Yeah, sorry. Beckoning everyone else to just come straight in.
Okay. Well. very cobwebby. What's this over here? And then I'll wander over to the corner.
Okay, so Elias, you take a look at what's in the corner, and it appears to be a vase or an urn of some sort. It appears to be cast metal.
I'll tap on it.
You kind of hear a kind of bell-like ring as you tap against the metal. It's at least partially empty.
Can I open it, or is it open top?
There is a lid on it, so you can definitely open it.
I'll do that.
Okay, so you open the lid and are met straight away with the revolting smell of decay. Kind of pinching your nose, you look down inside, and there seems to be a puddle of what might once have been organic matter, but has long since decomposed.
Ugh. Is there like any trinkets or anything amongst the?
It doesn't seem like it.
Okay. I'll close the lid on it and turn to the others. But like some sort of burial urns, like either a body or bits of a body have been put inside. I think we're in a tomb. Probably safe to say. And then and my turn.
Okay. Epicos.
I'm gonna walk forwards. Oh yeah, see it open out. Have a bit of a look around. And head to this door at the back, I think, or towards it. Not gonna dash, I think I'm just gonna leave it there.
Ooh. I'm gonna sort of scoot my head around that pillar. Oh, or not. Okay. I think anything more than that is going to cost me extra movement. Yeah, I'm gonna stay put. The things in the like east and west corners, do they look like the vase that Elias has stood over?
They do, yes. They look to be very similar in design.
Yeah. One.
I see a door in my sight line, so I shall head towards it. 10. Oh, hang on. I'm on measure mode.
You got the measuring tool
There
here.
you go. 10. Ooh. And is it not let me do that?
I think it's being janky because you're moving through the space of the wall in
Oh,
it.
yeah, the pillars are technically terrain walls, so it might not like that. You might have to go kind of a bit of a strange
Can I
path.
path through? There we go.
Yeah.
You path through
Yeah.
people as long as you don't turn there, so that should be
15.
fine.
And another 15. I've still got 10 left.
Mhm.
And I'm going to... Oh, there's more doors. Yeah, I'm going to see whether this door is compliant or whether I need to try and pick the lock.
Okay, so Zwan, you kind of try the door and it doesn't budge. You look down to examine the locking mechanism, and with a heavy heart, you notice that the keyhole is rusted shut. This thing is ancient, but it is only a wooden door.
Yes, I am only a weak little man. I'll try to... with my dagger, I'm going to try and hit the sort of rusted area of the lock to try and release a lot of the metal that's around there and hopefully get something a bit more useful underneath.
Sure. Roll me an athletics for that, please.
18.
Okay, so you give it a pretty solid smack with the pommel of your dagger. And a lot of the rust kind of falls away, enough that you can then kind of work the tip into the hole and pry away even more. Casting an eye inside the exposed hole, you can see it's a fairly primitive series, only 2 tumblers in this one.
Nice. Can I give it a go, or is that all I can do this turn?
We're not in combat, so go on.
Yeah, let's give it a go. Is that sleight of hand?
I believe it's Thieves' Tools. We went through this last time, but I've forgotten already.
I do have Thieves' Tools somewhere, but I don't know if you used them. Oh, use Thieves' Tools. There we go. That's not 20.
That's 20. So
Wow.
yeah, simple, and for a man of your talents, barely an inconvenience, really. So you unlock that.
Wonderful. So I'll open it. And I believe I have got 5 more feet, so I'll just stand in the doorway.
As an aside, is the map being revealed for everybody else when one person sees
No,
something?
no.
Is it just
No.
Okay.
Like when Elias came around this corner, he moved into the darkness
Yeah.
for us.
It's a weird one
Yeah.
for me because I've kind of got like a weird hybrid vision system as DM, it seems.
Mm.
Yeah, we get whatever our line of sight is, basically.
Okay. And then presumably everything you've already explored yourself.
Yeah.
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 Okay, good. Working as intended. Nice.
Nice.
I
to see
think
it.
if you select a token, you can see what the token sees.
Usually I can, but that's what I'm struggling at here because like I'm
Oh.
on Elias. I can't see Zwan, but I can see the area he's just unlocked, but Elias hasn't seen.
Yeah, I
So
can't see
that's
that.
strange.
Yeah.
So I don't know what exactly is going on just there, but
And
does it, as long as it's working for you guys.
Yep.
Because annoyingly, I've forgotten to set Chikinto as having any sight, so he can see the whole map. So
and it's his turn, and I will be right back.
all right. So following, obviously, the progress being made, Chikinto is actually going to move behind Zwan there. Oh, hold up. Looks like we've got something on the floor over there. Looks like reeds to me. And that's going to be the end of his turn. So, wide eye.
So, are all the doors in here wooden, or are these?
Looks to be,
new
yeah.
doors? Okay. Select. Why is it? There we go. Don't want him to be outdone. He's going to come over here.
So,
Going to take a quick peer down the right to see what's going on down there, and
Yep.
then again he'll look at this door, try the handle.
this one protests a little, but opens.
Hmm. He kind of thinks it's safe, so he's going to keep wandering down here.
You didn't intend to close the door behind you.
I did not.
Ah!
Oh, both doing it.
It's haunted!
Right, so that's 30 feet there.
Alright. So, yeah, why don't you kind of progress down this corridor a little bit away from the rest of the group?
Yeah. And then.
Okay. Nice.
I'll quickly give this door a test and see if it's locked or not.
This door opens as well.
Well, no. And I'll catch up with the other.
Okay, so yeah, you can kind of see the others now peering down this corridor at what appear to be a few reed mats placed on the stone floor.
Step forwards, try and. Oh, yeah.
Don't.
I think there was a door further back that we have missed. I will go and investigate.
I'm just thinking out loud here, but I don't know if this is the best way to do it, because basically my idea is that Rich would probably go ahead of us all to test out things for traps, which means essentially the rest of us all are just going to end up catching up with him, and then Rich goes forward, and then the rest of us go forward, and then Rich goes forward, and then the rest of us go forward, like turn after turn. Is that how it's going to go? Or
It works well for that for linear paths, for split paths. People just run off on their own.
yeah,
Do we have 3 torches lit?
Yeah.
Chikinto has one, Elias has one, and Epicos has
How
one.
convenient, because there's 3 directions to go.
Well, in that case, I'm
Okay.
going to go and investigate. Oh.
Well, this is the thing. If you guys would prefer to, obviously, kind of do it as Cal suggests, with Rich taking point the whole way. In future, we can just do it that way, and we'll just go back to describe it. I'm just trying this out because it's something that Foundry actually allows us to do.
okay, yeah, no, it's fair enough.
No, I think Chris is right with the split paths. It's kind of a unique way of doing it.
Well, I guess I'll go catch up with Wide-Eye, because he's probably stood in the pitch dark right now.
I'm going to try and investigate this door, see if I can open it.
Yep. So again, that one it's a little bit stiff and jams in a few places, but with a bit of persuasion, you managed to open it.
How much movement have I used? Oh. Let's see.
The mine calculated, so I don't know why the rest of yours isn't.
Mine's been really weird when it tries to. So I've used 30 feet so far. Oh.
Chris, how do you do that measuring thing when you make like a waypoint and then measure for
Control click. So you go to a point, control click there, and then it makes a waypoint.
Nice one, cheers.
And then, so I'm going to walk 10 feet down this corridor. And I think that's where I will pause.
Cool. Having heard Elias say that he'll follow Wide-Eye, I'm going to follow Epicos. So if I, like the first bit of movement I do, it doesn't tell me how far I've moved. If I then start moving again and like press and hold, it then tells me how much I've moved. Don't really know why. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Oi!
So I think the workaround then is going to be move a 5-foot block and then do the rest.
I think on the first turn, I was saying, why doesn't it measure me to move? And then I clicked myself again, and then it started measuring. So it might just be the first
okay.
like click on yourself.
Epicos?
Yes?
Be careful going up ahead.
Okay.
Juan.
Oh, that's me. Well, you were still in
I
character.
did give you a bit of a mixed
Yeah.
pronunciation there,
Juan.
so blame that on me.
One which does
right.
plenty.
Before I proceed, I can see quite clearly on the floor there's some non-standard flooring.
We've worked out that is reed matting.
Okay. Reed matting with traps underneath? Or
Well, no one's worked that out
no,
just yet.
okay. Yeah, that's more what I was getting at. Can I since I'm right next to this front one, can I have a look?
How would you like to go about doing that?
Oh. It's all fairly connected, so I'm gonna grab sort of the end close to me and start lifting it up. Probably
So
yeah.
you lift this up, and you can see that it is covering some broken bricks, but nothing more.
Okay. Well, confident enough to move forward, I shall, and I will do the same with this one.
Likewise, it appears to be covering some minor damage.
Okay. Well, I shall move forwards. It's not measuring again. There we go. 25. Ooh, 2 ways again. I like the look of this way. I'm just going to move here because if I don't want to move out of the torchlight of Jacinto.
Okay.
And I'll end it there, sort of at the junction.
All right. So Jacinto is going to follow you now that he knows it's safe to do so. And he's going to wait there. So, Wide-Eye, your turn.
Okay. Kind of following a path ahead. He's just going to keep going through here, stumbling about.
Yes, you use the wall to kind of guide your progress a little bit, but you come to what appears to be a crossroads.
I'm coming. Hang on.
And keeps going. Oh,
I mean, it's
So-
going to be pitch black at this point. You're totally out of torch range, I think.
okay.
Okay, Wide-Eye, you approach what seems to be a door.
Okay.
Now
Not
this one,
necessarily. I was going to say, not necessarily opening it. He is going to test and see if there is a handle that you can feel.
there is a handle, however, it doesn't seem to open the door. This one
Okay.
looks to be locked.
What does the door feel like? Is it
Fairly
wood, is it
dry
metal?
wood still.
okay? Probably end his turn there for now.
Okay.
Can you click end turn? Yeah. Alright, I'm playing catch up, so. Well, it's not measuring me now again. This fucking stupid
I
thing.
don't know why it's doing that. For sake of saving a turn, if you want to take an action to sprint to catch up, now that you know it's reasonably safe, I'll let you do that.
35, 40. Okay.
Okay,
That's
so
one
sprinting,
dead
you
end now.
catch up with Wide-Eye. A few cobwebs get in your face, but no further damage from that. But yes, it seems he's paused at the door.
No. Go on, man. What are all those muscles for? And then I'll have my turn.
Yeah, of
Oh.
course.
I'll draw Yinfu's attention to this little tiny passageway beside me. And take a couple of steps forwards.
So, Epicos, you come out into what appears to be some sort of workshop. You can see very large benches, actually. They're about right for you, but they seem to be like maybe too big for a smaller humanoid. And on them appear to be an array of tools.
I'm gonna head over
Quite
to
a
the
strange mixture of tools as well. None of them
nearest one and
dedicated to a
investigate what kind
particular
of
trade.
tools they are.
So you can see that some of them are clearly tools that may be used for carpentry. Others seem to be more multi-purpose. There's also a few miscellaneous items, like an empty bucket and a few what looks to be like a bag of soot, it seems.
Hmm.
You can't
They-
necessarily think what kind of craftsman would have use for all these tools.
Peculiar collection, perhaps a storeroom of sorts? I'm gonna move over to the end of my movement and investigate this body.
Yes, so as you come around the first side of the bench, you see the upper half of a torso, or the kind of skeletal remains of one. And again, what strikes you is that this is particularly sizable. The upper half of a body alone seems to be a good 5 foot.
Yinfu, can you pass on that there are particularly large remains? And I'll have my turn.
Okay, so Yinfu, you can't turn around, but you can't see anybody behind you.
I can't. But I'm gonna Hail Mary and use message. I'm probably gonna direct it at Elias. They don't need to be within sight, they just need to be within 120 feet. And it can be through solid objects.
I think it's they have
yep,
a limit, right?
70 feet, so you're okay.
1 foot of
1
stone.
stone.
Ah, yes, in which case that is definitely not going to be okay.
No.
Just whether you want to risk it.
Oh wait,
or not.
the spell doesn't have to follow a straight line, so if you can maneuver it through the corridor, you might be able to.
Oh yeah.
Sending it trundling along the corridor.
You can measure.
That just seems like
I can't
it's gonna
see, so I'm
be,
going to have to ask Chris.
Oh, I'm.
you're not going to have
myself.
more than. I think you can probably do that. I will double check.
Can you see that ping?
Order. Hold on. Let me see if I can do a waypoint measure.
Control click? Yeah.
Yep. 85 feet. You're okay.
Okay, cool. Is there a limit on the length? It doesn't actually say. I thought there was. Basically, whisper a message. There are very large bodies. Be careful.
Elias just kind of like turns around, like thinking Yinfu's like stood right behind him, and then she's not there. So it's like, what the fuck? Okay.
Crispy, the tiny gap as well that we saw. Would I be able to squeeze myself through it?
It wouldn't be easy, but you could possibly do it. I would require an acrobatics check.
You know what? I'm going to give it a go.
And tell you what, if you're willing to remove your pack and your instruments and leave them out here, I'm going to give you a bonus of +3 to your roll.
Yep, I will absolutely depack.
Okay, so you kind of take that off and reduce yourself to as slim as you can possibly be. And you kind of squeeze into this narrow gap. It's very tight, and you kind of struggle to breathe as you go through, but inch by tantalizing inch, you manage to creep through the gap here into this particular chamber that you can see.
Ooh. Can I open a chest?
Are you?
They
Can you
like
see?
them.
I can. Just about, I think.
Yes, so not clearly, but you can see enough to work out roughly what these things may or may not be.
I actually have a candle in my pack. I probably would have brought that along with me, actually.
They're small enough, it wouldn't have made a difference, so that's
Yeah.
fine. Okay, so you light the candle, and sure enough, these are indeed chests.
Cool. Are they able to be opened?
Would you like to try?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, which chest would you like to open first? One on your left or one on your right?
This one here.
Okay, so you open that. Roll me a perception, please. You hear a click.
A click that I wasn't expecting from
A
this?
click that you weren't expecting from the chest.
I pause and place the lid back down.
And I'm afraid that pause is going to cost you quite dearly, as a wall comes down behind you.
Oh, fuck.
Oof.
Sealing the narrow passage.
Okay. Is that about the end of my turn?
Yes, unless you would like to know what's in the chest.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I guess so, actually.
So, you look inside, and there is a small vial. Sat alone in the chest is far too big for it.
Oh, that can't be good. Is it labelled or anything?
You know what it is, but you can't read the language.
Shite. Okay. Pass turn there, then.
Okay. Unaware of this, Zwan, you and Jacinto kind of stand here at the crossroads.
Yes, I'm intrigued by the smaller of the two paths. Is that just
Okay.
wide enough for me to sort of shimmy?
Yeah, you'll be able to
Yeah.
get through there without any tests. It's narrow, but it's not impassable.
Measure. There we go. Yeah, so that's 20 to there. I'll just sort of use the wall to guide. Oh, it didn't like that. Hang on. There you go.
The walls can be,
Yeah.
because line up with the grids, which
Um,
do in future. 'Cause
Yeah. And then I'll just carry on. While the wall is here to guide me, I'll just keep going. So that's
the problem is I make them an incarnate, and then the grid system has to be found. Reason we don't match up.
what was that? 25, 35, 40. I'll get to there. Yeah.
Okay, and you can just about make out a door at the other end
I
of this
can.
corridor.
And that's where I end my turn.
Alright. So Jacinto is actually not going to follow you. He's going to move towards the other direction. And when I stop measuring him and start telling him to go somewhere, he's going to move. You gotta hear the hinges of a door squeak from down the corridor, Zwan. But that's all you hear from him. And that's the end of his go. Okay, wide eye.
Yep, so
Just realised
Elias is here now.
that by accident we have kind of paired up in order of the initiative a little bit as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
What do you mean accident? This was planned, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right, go.
Well,
Yeah,
machine, this team.
Knowing the door is locked, and knowing that it's made out of wood, Wide Eye is just going to try and bust through.
Okay, athletics, please. A very solid kick from Wide Eye sends the door actually off its hinges, and it kind of collapses backwards into the room. revealing what appears to be a sizable but very heavily damaged statue.
Oh, shit. There we go. He's gonna walk up to it. Can we see what it sort of looks like? What it would have been?
It looks, for all the world, like a figure, presumably of some importance, sat upon a replica of a throne. As you draw closer, wider, you can see that at some point this, obviously when it was complete, would have been, you reckon, probably about 20 feet tall. You notice, however, that some parts of it are still embossed with what looks to be some fairly precious stones.
Is it like a lot of stones or just one or two of them?
A lot of very little stones.
Yeah. And as he's looking around, he can see there's a door there as well. So what he's going to do is he's going to be like, this is quite impressive. Elias, do you know what these stones are? And he's going to kind of say that as he's also been like heading towards the back. Getting to the back of this as well. Can he see any writing or anything as he's walked past it or on the back of the statue?
You can see some writing, but it's broken in places by the damage which has happened, and you can't read the script anyway.
Yeah, fair enough. And that's where you'll end his turn.
Okay, Elias.
Yes, I will follow through. And for what species does this statue appear to be?
It's hard to tell with the damage, but it's humanoid, definitely. It doesn't appear to be an orc. You can tell that much.
And yeah, Elias is going to waste no time at all, and he's going to take his dagger out and start prying them stones off.
Okay, so you pry a couple out, Elias. You start to notice that there tend to be, the more semi-precious stones, so you kind of your lapis lazulis and your opals, and in places perhaps a ruby.
Okay.
But they're quite small individually, but together they may add up to be a reasonable sum.
Good enough.
It'll take a little bit of time, however, to fully, should we say, recover these stones from the statue.
Well, I won't bother wasting time trying to get every single one. I'll just get a handful and then move on.
All right.
But then I'll also follow where this where the writing is. Can I do have comprehend languages, but I don't have it prepared. So taking
I don't
out.
usually go in for that kind of prepare stuff. So if you've got it, you can use it.
All right. Okay.
Because I think that's very much like, I'm going to punish you for not knowing the exact encounter I had planned for you. It's like, what's the point?
Okay. Let's do that then. I will cast comprehend languages.
Okay, sure. So you start to.
you understand any written language that you see, but you must be touching the surface. Takes about 1 minute to read one page. Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Okay, so a minute obviously is a reasonable amount of time in turn-based order, but we can kind of sit there and, for the sake of the narrative, we'll let you kind of speed through that a little bit. So looking at this inscription, it seems to be a chronicle of the rule of a queen by the name of Brisana. However, the place names it mentions are completely foreign to you. But from what you can see, the impartial record here seems to suggest that she was a well-beloved and fairly popular queen.
Can you spell that name?
Yep, sure. So it's Brisanna.
Sana.
Yes.
S-A-N-A-A.
Yes, S-A-N-N-A.
Double N-A, yeah.
Yeah, I had that way wrong.
Oh, are you putting it into Kankerich?
I will do at some point. If you're doing it, just do it.
Yeah, I'm just typing it in.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, carry on.
But yes, it seems to be at least a partial record of her rule, and from at least this inscription, it seems like she was quite a beloved queen and very successful. Now, obviously, official histories have been known to tell a few embellished stories over the years, so without any other sources, it's hard to say if there's any truth to that, but that's kind of just the gist of her writing.
Okay. Can I roll a history to see if I've ever heard of it before?
Yes, you can. You've heard of no such name, at least not in the Imperial Archives.
Okay.
But you know that the realm's historians often care very little about what happens outside of the walls.
Yeah, sorry, that's the end of my turn.
Okay, so Epikos, you will have heard kind of the grating of stone on stone from back down the corridor a little bit.
I'm gonna look back, see that I can't see Yinfu, and assume that she's just gone to pass on the message.
Okay.
He is dumb as a bag of bricks.
Not an unreasonable assumption. Why would you try and squeeze yourself into that gap? Honestly.
Continue trying to move forward. A door. I will try and open the door.
So, Epikos, you notice that this door is actually sealed in a similar manner to the main entrance, i.e. with a series of ropes kind of held in place by a wax seal. Nothing really is a serious obstacle to you. Again, it's quite brittle, but just as a point of curiosity.
Hold them off, walk through.
So as you enter, you can see that Jacinto has already beaten you here, and he is poring over what appears to be a large stone structure with a series of very intricate carvings.
Ah, Jacinto! Did you get my message from Yinfu?
A message? No.
Ah, there was a large skeleton back there.
I think there are some large skeletons in here. He gestures towards the structures he's studying.
Ah, I see.
Anyway, that's enough talking for one turn.
Yep.
So, moving back to Yinfu.
Well, at this point, I'm in here, so I'm going to open up the other chest.
Okay, so you open up the other chest, and your heart kind of skips a beat as you notice that there is a lot of gold in here. It's pretty much full to the brim.
The heck? I would like to pick up the vial from the other chest and try and have a better examination of it, I guess.
Sure, so it has an inscription on the bottle, but again, it's in a language you can't really comprehend at all.
I am going to use comprehend languages. To see if I can figure out what it says.
Sure, so you notice it's a handwritten inscription, clearly by whoever once filled this vial. It simply reads, "Salvation lies in sacrifice. You may not take it with you."
I'm going to need to ponder that. I'm going to pass my turn there.
Okay, Zwan.
Yes. I'll carry on along here towards that door that I saw.
Okay.
15 feet. I'll try see if it opens.
Yep. So give it a good old push.
Open.
Sorry.
Oh, light.
And yes, you find yourself face to face with a fairly startled Wide-Eye at this point.
I like raise my dagger instinctively before I realise it's these guys.
So, kind of casting an eye in, you can see the statue that they've been examining previously.
Curious. I'm just gonna go in here and I'm just gonna look at the statue and then my turn here. Sort of admire it.
Oh, sorry. You appreciate that there are some valuables here too that Elias has elected not to free from their settings.
Actually, yeah, I'll proceed in retrieving some of those for myself.
Okay, cool. So, brings us to Jacinto's turn. He is just going to stay here and kind of examine everything. You can see Epicos, but he's clearly a bit overwhelmed by what he's found. So, Wide-Eye brings us to you.
Okay, so yeah, suddenly face to face with Zwan. Ah, God, stop turning it. I'm trying to zoom in and out. Kind of knowing that he went that way. Yeah, we'll probably just ask. He's like, well, everyone else that way.
Jacinto is that way. There was another door. I think he went through it. I don't know what's there.
Okay, if that's the case, then yeah, we'll plod along, kind of knowing that other people are down this way.
And likewise, if you are willing to kind of bet on that fact, I'll let you use your sprint action to cover extra ground and save some turns.
Oh, go on then. What's that? I'm at 30 there, aren't I? 15, 20. About here, isn't it? Yeah. Cool. I'll keep wandering down. And then my turn. So with Elias.
Okay. Well, is Swan in the middle of like picking all these gems off now?
Yeah, I'm casting my eye for the more valuable looking ones and trying to get what I can.
Yes, he's casting an appraising eye overall.
Seeing as Wide Eye's buggered off to join Jacinto, I'll stay here with Swan because I've got the torch. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'll lend a hand at picking up the rest of these gems off.
Okay, cool. So you guys get to work kind of freeing these from their...
It's like, what is the statue itself made of as well?
it appears to be carved marble,
Oh, okay.
which is obviously at odds with the sandstone of a tomb.
So probably a lot of work went into it.
Yeah, it's safe to say that whoever commissioned this had some cash behind them.
So, and then the rest of the room is just very plain with this statue in the middle.
This is, very much the centerpiece.
I read an inscription, apparently Queen Brasana I'm assuming that's who the statue represents.
Interesting. Rings no bells with me.
Me neither. Although, must have been well worshipped to warrant a statue this size. But then, why bury it in tomb? If that is what this is.
Perhaps to safeguard it from thieves from stealing all the wealth, he says as he pries a gem out of the statue.
Yes. So they have a moment where they look at each other like daggers in hand, like peeling gems out of it.
Those pesky thieves.
Bloody bastards.
Alright, so you guys do your best to relieve this tomb of any residual wealth it may have.
When Jacinto comes back through, it appears to be missing a ton of gems. Oh yeah, so some thieves must have made their way in here at some point in the past.
And then resealed it all on their way out.
A load of like jingling in our pockets as we walk away.
Okay, so Epikos, obviously you're now in this room here with Jacinto.
He's busy over investigating that one on the left-hand
Yes.
side. I'm going to walk over to this one. Does it look like it's got a stone lid on top?
It does, yes. Quite a
I'm gonna-
well-carved lid there.
We'll see if it's that well carved when it hits the floor. I'm
Okay,
going to try and push it off.
you try and push it off. Jacinto kind of looks at you. What are you doing?
Seeing
You're
what,
gonna leave us in the fucking desert. I can just tell.
seeing what's inside.
Don't you fool. That thing's priceless. You could disrupt it, and if it shatters on impact, God knows how much value you'd lose. He's clearly getting quite flustered as you try to do
Oh,
that. But
okay,
he's
okay.
a while away.
And they're gonna walk down to the end of the tomb, at the end of the coffin. See that there's a chest, which I'm sure does not look priceless, and try and get into that. Oh. Is that Discord going?
I can still hear you.
Okay.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
sorry,
but-
I muted myself. There we go.
Okay.
For sake. So, yes. The chest reveals very little of monetary value to you, perhaps, but may quite possibly be burial goods. Think things like figurines of what may be deities, a few kind of cooking utensils, and then a few, well, by now they're very, very rotten, but what once may have been food offerings.
I'm going to spend the rest of my turn then sort of lifting them up and lining them up along the end of the sarcophagus so that you can go and see them and be like, look! Priceless artifact! Now
Okay,
easily
cool.
accessible.
Sorry, moved you there by accident. Yeah, cool. So, Yinfu, you're left pondering this inscription's meaning.
Yep. So, the vial, is there anything in there?
There is, yes, it's sealed, and there is a liquid inside.
What colour is the liquid?
Well, the glass bottle is actually green, so it makes it hard to determine what is inside, but you know it's quite dark.
If I lift the lid off, or like uncork it, can I get a better idea of what the liquid is? Can I have a
Yes.
sniff?
Well, you can sniff it, and it smells very noxious.
Oh,
Something that you probably don't want to get anywhere near any exposed skin.
I'm gonna turn round to the other crate and just pour a drop out on some of the coins.
So you pour a drop onto the pile, and the liquid kind of fizzes and hisses, and slowly starts to eat away through some of the coinage.
Ay, ay, ay. Oops, didn't mean to press that. Yeah, I'm gonna pour the rest of it out on the gold.
Okay, so it pains you to do it, but you pour the liquid onto the gold and watch as it starts to fizz and hiss and melt into what appears to be lead. However, as the kind of pile starts to transmute, you kind of hear the grinding of stone behind you, and sure enough, the wall lowers away, offering you open a path.
Yep, I'm gonna squeeze myself back out of the gap. Oops.
Okay.
Do I need to do a check to get back out?
You got in, so we'll say you get out fairly easily.
Cool.
It would just be cruel trapping you in after opening the door.
I mean, it would be kind of funny. Cool. And I'm going to head in the direction that I last saw Epicos.
Okay, yep, so he seems to have gone on ahead, unaware of your plight.
Yep. Cool.
Okay, so you and Elias kind of finish picking and clean this statue for any precious gemstones.
Well, I believe our work here is done. Perhaps we should find the others. Chiquito is not far up this way. And I'll just run through this corridor, basically.
Again, if you want it for alacrity, just sprint and do the double movement. That'll make it less turn-burny.
Oh, no. Hang on. Because Wide-Eye is there, I can't move myself anymore.
Wait.
There we go.
There we go. Oh, hello.
So in the pitch blackness, Wide-Eye, you feel someone sprint past you.
10, 20, 30. I think that's the end of my movement.
So you just about see the room that Jacinto has gone into. You can see Epicos in the distance too, kind of playing with dolls on one of the stone surfaces.
In his head, he's like, no, I should have gone this way. Oh, enter.
So Jacinto makes his way a little further over here and starts trying to read what appears to be a description on a wall, but he offers no conversation while doing so. Clearly engrossed in his work. Okay, Wide-Eye, yes, you felt something run past you just then, but you're fairly certain it was one of your friends. Fairly.
Well, I mean, in the hopes that it was one of my friends, I'm just going to keep heading this corridor. And then be able to see the light inside this room, wouldn't I?
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
peer over your shoulder. You are considerably taller than him.
Yeah, so I'll just carry on in.
Okay, so you come into the light and are able to examine your surroundings a little.
It's pretty thick. There's not really much you can do because it's a bit dash there, so I'll end turn there, methinks.
Elias, back to you.
Yes. Well, I'll also follow.
You know what, if everybody is wanting to just head into this room, let's save some time and just bump everybody in.
Just tell him I'm seeing inside the walls.
So you mean to say there's no more weird little rooms for me to get myself stuck in?
Well, this
Funny you should
There's
mention
two
that.
sarcophagi.
As you step in the room.
wall, this wall here sort of resembles a penis shape.
Oh, I will also I will also pick up my backpack as I came out, just to clarify.
Assumed that you would have done that. But yeah, just for the sake of saving everybody just running down empty corridors that other people have already explored, get everybody in the room where we are still going over things. So obviously now you can get a good look in the various torches that are lit here. Your suspicions that this is a tomb are quite clearly correct. These two sizable sarcophagi are testament to that, and they're incredibly detailed in their carvings. You notice that one of them is kind of set with a particularly sizable gemstone. The other seems to have layers of gold all inside of it. Quite valuable, potentially, if they can be freed from their stone captive where they've been embossed.
We can try, but you can told me off when I brought it up.
Of course I did.
Priceless artifact, he said.
What good is it in some collection somewhere? These should be preserved.
Yeah.
Then let us gently preserve the outer layers while we see what is in the inner layers. Do you know what is in these just by glance alone? No, we must investigate further.
Okay, of course it is your turn.
What's this up at the top?
You notice that there is a staircase leading to a fountain.
Let me just do a quick measure. I'm going to walk up the stairs to the base of the fountain and have a look at it.
Okay, so you notice that it is actually flowing still, and the water seems to be fairly clear.
There is some water up here, but maybe fed by an underground spring? I'm going to sort of gently lower the base of my spear into it to see if anything happens.
The base of your spear gets wet.
Okay, fuck it, Epicos is a knucklehead. I'm going to bend down and have a drink.
It's a little bitter, Epicos, but it's refreshing in a strange kind of way.
Everybody, come quench your thirst over here! And that'll be me.
Okay, Yinfu. You notice that Chikinto is kind of studying these walls, which seem to be inscribed with a series of kind of pictograms and other markings. Obviously, Epicos is paying no attention to that. He is busy quenching his thirst.
You know who the tomb belongs to?
He looks at it. I'm struggling to make heads or tails of this writing system. It's not Orcish.
How long does my comprehend languages last?
An hour.
Or duration, you understand? Yep, so an hour.
Yeah, I'm so slow. Oh no, it's because of weird movement. Yeah, I'm gonna make my way over.
I think because you've moved us, Crispy, it's like maxed out.
Yeah, it might.
Yeah.
Just ignore that and we'll see where you want to go. Measure out where you want to, and I'll move you if you need to.
It's just gonna show as red. But if
You're breaking the rules. You're breaking the rules.
Over here. Yeah, and take a look at the walls from this vantage point with comprehend languages.
Okay, so touching the surface on which words are written, so I suppose technically it is the wall of the same chamber, so a little bit murky area of that, but...
Would I use a dash? as a bonus action? Is it a bonus action or an action to dash?
Your bonus action if you're a rogue, but again, for the sake of burning turns here, I'll let this one slide. So you read pictograms, and some of them appear to be mythology, but one kind of prominent tablet seems to be kind of addressed, or at least representative of this particular room, and reads as a warning or a kind of a riddle almost. It simply reads, "Here entombed no shackles clink, doomed to thirst yet never drink. Wake us not, or face our wrath, and walk upon our wretched path."
Can you paste that in the chat for us?
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Bear with me one moment. There you go. Make of that what you will.
It rather seems a touch like they were sealed here, and I have some concerns about the doors that we've opened. That'll be the end of my turn, I think.
Okay. So, Zoan, you've obviously kind of heard Yinfu recite this.
Hmm. Oh. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to check out this this chalice goblet on the floor.
Okay, so you take a look down, and it's covered in dust and a little bit of sand, but otherwise in fairly good condition. Is a golden chalice. It appears dry.
I'm thinking about that doomed to thirst but never drink, and there conveniently is a chalice in here. I don't know whether we try to put the water in some receptacle or whether we just leave it. And while pondering, I'm going to end my turn.
And so Alan makes his way over to also have a look at that. I think we may be meddling in things that we don't fully comprehend here. Might be best to just leave it all untouched. That's his 2 cents, and he's going to end his
That's the
turn.
fun in that.
Looks over and sees Epicos just headfirst in the fountain.
Splashing around like a toddler in a water feature.
Yeah. Okay, so Wide-Eye, you're obviously in amongst all this, but quite close to one of these glinting gold sarcophagi.
After hearing that being read out, looking at the sarcophagus, is there anywhere on it where you would say there was like a sort of hole or grooves or anything for, say, pouring?
There's no
liquid in?
obvious indentations that would suggest it was made to receive liquid.
Okay. And one of the chests was opened, wasn't it? Not both of them. Or the
So
both chests were open.
the one
at
on
the
the other sarcophagi, Epicos has been through.
end? Okay. Well, why that will do similar and come over here and just see if this chest opens.
It does, and you find slightly different, yet fairly similar contents. Again, suggesting that they may be grave goods.
Okay. I suppose I'll use the remainder of my movement to kind of head towards the stairs. Kind of heading towards Epicos.
Okay, cool. So you kind of get to the bottom there and see Epicos is still kind of messing with the fountain there.
Okay. I think he's probably going to join Epicos in his next turn anyway, so I'll end there and pass over.
Okay, Elias, it's your turn.
I'll inspect this sarcophagi. Is
Sure.
it just
So,
as it appears to be?
yeah, it's a large stone sarcophagi, probably about 20 foot long by about 10 wide. It's pretty big. Now on the side, you can see a load of inscriptions, and studying them reveals them to be kind of religious rites almost. Many of them do seem to suggest that these may have been interred here for a reason, perhaps, but they seem to be wards as well as just prayers.
Is there any names or anything on? No.
None that you can make out other than a couple of perhaps priests, but none of any particular importance.
Okay. Yinfu, you mentioned you found bodies. Does the size of this sarcophagus sort of line up with that?
But technically, it was half a body. Crispy, would it still have been a bit small?
Well, given that a good chunk of this size is going to be stone, it's not outside the realm of possibility it would work.
Possibly then, yeah.
What did they look like, these bodies? Well, this half a body.
Big humanoid?
Okay.
The rest was really too decayed to tell.
Dusty.
I'll wander over to the other sarcophagus and see if the inscription's about the same.
Similar. Very similar indeed. This one is the one with the sizable gemstone embedded in the top of it. And that one looks very valuable.
I'll reach out and touch it.
So you touch it and kind of wipe the layer of dust from the top of it, and time hasn't done much to diminish the gleam that this kind of cut gem emits in the torchlight.
Well. And I'll sort of peer over my shoulder, seeing that Jacinto is inspecting this goblet. And looking back, I'll press my dagger into like the seam of where the gem's embedded and see if it's like if I could possibly prise it out.
Okay, so you stick the dagger in, and it's kind of held in place by a kind of a seam of soft gold, so you're able to kind of carve the tip of the blade in there quite easily, and kind of using the stone as a bit of a lever, or a fulcrum to use the dagger as a lever, I should say. You begin to prise it out, It's a bit stiff at first, but eventually it kind of comes loose. There is a hiss as clearly something equalizes in pressure. But nothing after that.
How, is this gemstone as large as it seems? Like, it's just, is it the size of a human, or is it?
It's pretty damn big. It's about half a foot across. These are quite to scale, just the best I could find. But say it's a sizable gemstone.
Football-sized.
Yeah, fair enough to say it's about the size of a football.
Not that Elias knows what a football is. Maybe there are some
as a rough idea of size, that's what you're looking at, really. Enough to be of considerate value.
Am I strong enough to lift it?
Give it a go if you want.
Strength?
Yes, please. It would appear not.
Yeah, I'll just turn. Epicos, when you've finished, just you and Wide Eye come give me a hand with this. I haven't heard Jacinto specifically telling us not to fuck with this shit, so I'm just going to carry on doing it. Sorry, end my turn.
Okay, cool.
I was planning on moving this lid anyway. So yeah, I will. I think
It's
I've got
only-
movement.
I was going to say it's only the gemstone I'm looking at.
That one at the top.
Pull out. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I will hop down, go around the other side, and get ready to help you lift. Would it perhaps be safer to remove the lid first, so we can we'll remove the lid first, lay it gently on the floor, and then we can A, see what is inside the sarcophagus, B, deal with any threats that may happen, and then C, be able to more safely remove this.
What do you mean, deal with any threats?
The line said, "Wake us not or face our wrath."
Come on. You don't believe that. That's just... They just used to write that kind of thing to scare away thieves. It's all nonsense.
I cannot test. I cannot use my divine sense when they are so completely entombed. If we were to shift it so that the corner was free, I would be able to tell if there were nefarious beings inside.
Well, actually, as you say that, I think there might be a hole beneath this gemstone, so if we lifted it out, we could peek inside and see what's in there without removing the whole lid. I sort of heard what sounded like air escaping as I was prizing it up.
Elias, you have a way with words. You have persuaded me. I will help.
Okay, cool. So, you guys kind of prise open this gem a little bit more, enough that Epicos, you would be able to use your divine sense.
I will then pop my divine sense.
Assuming that that obviously isn't just once per long rest or short rest.
I can use it 4 times.
4 times. Okay. Well, you will find out quite quickly that there is indeed a nefarious thing inside this, specifically an undead.
I can also tell if a place or an object has been consecrated or desecrated.
This place has been consecrated at some point a very long time ago.
And then we've just desecrated it.
Well, yes, essentially.
It does specify as with the Hallow spell, so we've not properly desecrated it, we've just robbed it for anything of modicum value.
It's just morally desecrated. It's fine.
I will relay that immediately. Do you not smell this stench coming from within the sarcophagus? And that's been a lot of talking, so I'm going to end turn.
Okay, Yinfi, you can kind of see that shenanigans are unfolding.
Oh no! Oh no! What the fuck am I doing with this shit? I don't know. I am not having a good day. I am going to scoot my butt directly towards the fountain. How high up is it?
Fountain, it's probably about 10 feet above the rest.
Okay. With my mirthful leaps, one of my race things, if I do a jump, I can roll a d8 and add the number rolled to the number of feet I cover, even from a standing jump. Cost movement as usual. Could I do a combination of that and a scrabble up the side to just yeet myself like straight line towards it?
Yeah, that will work.
Cool. D8. Nice. Add the number rolled to the number of feet you cover. Okay. So yeah, I think as long as I can kind of do normal movement, that would get me up there.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna like leap between Jacinto and Juan and sort of send myself like straight into the fountain. Yay.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
yourself into the fountain.
Expecting shit to happen as well, I am going to give a bardic inspiration to Juan.
Okay.
Yeah, shenanigans afoot, be careful. So you've got a d6.
Wonderful.
Ability check, attack roll, saving throw.
Do I have to declare it before I...
So you can roll the d20, but before the DM says whether the roll succeeds or fails, you then use the bardic inspiration.
Okay.
That might get a little bit iffy if you're targeting like an attack or something, just as a heads up.
It doesn't tell us, does it? If it's successful.
If you target,
it does,
does,
yeah.
Okay, yeah. So maybe having a bit of an idea first.
Yeah.
Might be an idea.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that's going to be my turn, and I'm going to keep eyes on that sarcophagus situation.
Okay.
Well, if everyone's going hell for leather, I'm going to pick up the chalice. I'm going to climb up here. Climbing doesn't cost me extra movement because I've got whatever
So
it's
10
called.
foot up.
I'm going to fill the chalice.
Okay.
I'm going to move like the rest of my movement down to here. And can I like roll an investigation to see if I can find something that looks like it could be a receptacle for a liquid for the water?
I won't have you roll as somebody's already done this. You find nothing that looks like it's a receptacle.
I'll end my turn because I'm thinking too much.
Okay. Jacinto kind of moves forward a little. He's like flabbergasted that you're even thinking about doing this. You fools! You have no idea what's in there.
We do. It's an undead.
Okay, why die?
So much shit is going on because these guys kind of half holding this. He's running around with a chalice. I've just watched a goat launch itself into a fucking
fountain. Something about your
Fountain.
livestock, Wide-Eye, they must be thirsty. Both of them have made their way to a fountain.
So currently, is Elias like propping it open?
Yeah,
Just
Elias is
like-
kind of like, halfway to removing this thing at this point so that Epikos can kind of cast his Divine Sense.
Oh well, Wide Eye hasn't been paying too much attention, to be perfectly honest. So he's going to be like, "Oh, let me help you with that," and he'll just try and lift.
The gemstone or the lid?
The lid. Oh wait,
No.
that's what I meant. Is he popping the lid or?
He's just kind of removed the gemstone at this point.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, because we said about there being like a hole underneath the gemstone or something.
Oh right. So I thought you meant you were starting to prop the lid open for him to cast it. I mean, is the gemstone out at the moment, or is it still partially in there?
It's kind of like half prized up, I thought.
Like, Elias isn't quite strong enough to lift it all the way out.
Oh yeah. So yeah, there you go. Wide Eye's here to help. That's what we're getting at here. Whatever you're doing, he's just gonna lift it hard.
Okay, so Wide-Eye and Elias, you two both start to prize this out. As you do it, it finally kind of yields and kind of pops out. Epikos, you manage to kind of catch it before it falls down to the other side of the coffin. Now, Elias and Wide-Eye, I need you to both roll me a dexterity saving throw, please.
Oh wait, let me check one thing before I roll on my character sheet. Okay, so I have danger sense, so I gain advantage on dexterity saving throws against effects that you can see.
At this point in time, you can't quite see it. It's still contained, so I'm
It
afraid
does specify such as traps and spells.
this is neither.
Ooh.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Dexterity saving throw. Normal.
Okay, so as this pops out and Epikos kind of catches it, Elias, you kind of peer over to kind of get a little glance in. However, as you do so, a bandaged fist reaches out and grabs you by the throat, and that is where we're going to leave it for tonight. So we'll join this back later next week.